Hello everyone, welcome to our computer class. I hope all you have purchased your computer book. In our last few classes, we have learned single dimension array and we have done few programs also. Now in today's class, we will learn another type of array which is double dimension array. What was single dimension array? Single dimension array is a linear array which can be represented as a single row of elements or single column of elements. But double dimension array is a tabular data structure. It is organized as matrix which can be represented as a collection of rows and columns. That's why this double dimension array is also known as matrix array. So it is an array of arrays, array of single dimension array. Let's start with this double dimension array. So this is the basic diagram of a double dimension array. It contains a number of rows and columns. So if we assume that the first row is one single dimensional array having 4 elements, second row array having same number of elements, and third row also. So we can say a double dimension array consists of a number of single dimension array. If the array name is A, now we will learn how to declare this double dimension array. So declaration statement is data type, suppose it is int, then one square bracket for one dimension and next square bracket for second dimension. So here we have two dimensions. One is row dimension, another one is column dimensions. So this is for row dimension, this one is for column dimension. Then space array name. Or we have another declaration statement where this two square bracket will come after the array name. A square bracket, another square bracket. So any one of these two declaration statement can be used to declare one array. Now how to create array, how to initialize this array? A equal to new, then this data type, int, then in first square bracket we have to mention the number of row. For this example it is 3, and in second square bracket we have to specify the number of columns 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then give semicolon. So this is initialization. Here actually we are creating one blank array having 3 rows and 4 columns dynamically, because this new keyword will always execute at runtime. So this is runtime initialization. So the array will be created with how many elements? 3 into 4 for 12 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And how much memory area will be allocated for this array? For one integer block, it needs 4 byte memory area, because the size of int data type is 4. So this is one 4 bytes memory area, this one is another 4 bytes memory area, this one is another 4 bytes memory area. This way it will calculate. So 4 plus 4 for 8 plus 4 for 12, like that it will go on. So 12 elements into 4 bytes equal to 48 bytes. So total 48 bytes memory area will be allocated for this array. In double dimension array, each row and column they have their index number. So index numbers always starts with 0 in case of array. So first row's index number is 0, second row's index number is 1, and third row's index number is 2. So the index number of last row is total number of row minus 1. 1, 2, 3 row minus 1 for 2. And here also index number will start with 0. First column's index number 0, then second column index number 1, then 2, then 3. So the index number of last column is total number of column minus 1, 4 minus 1 for 3. So this is runtime initialization. Now we will learn compile time initialization. So let's take any of this declaration statement and then equal to, in second bracket, the number of values to be stored in the array in groups. So here to make few groups. And in each group you pass same number of values. Like here 2 values. So when we are passing 2 values in first group, in next group also we have to pass 2 values, and in last group also we have to pass same number of values. 5, 0, 3, 9. So total how many groups? 1, 2 and 3. Why we have divided these numbers into group? Because how many group we have made, array will be created with that many rows. So for this initialization, it will create one array with 3 rows. First row, second row, third row, 3 rows. And in each group we have 2 numbers. That means to accommodate these 2 numbers in one row, we need 2 elements. Now for second row also we need 2 elements, and for third row also 2 elements. That means this array will be created with 3 rows and 2 columns. An array name is A. Now these values will be stored in this array row wise. So first row 2 values 2 and 7, second row 5 and 0, and third row 3, 9. So this is compile time initialization. That means during compilation only the array will be created with this value. So here we know the number of rows and columns. So we have learned 2 ways to initialize one array. One is compile time initialization, another one was runtime initialization. That is also called dynamic initialization. Now the question is how to access these elements. Each of these element is an intersection between one row and one column. Let's take this element. This is the intersection of second row and third column. Second row's index number is 1 and third row's index number is 2. So to access this element, you have to write the array name followed by row index in first square bracket, that is 1, and then column index in next square bracket, that is 2. So array of A2 means this element. In the same way, to access this block, what to write? A 2 1 2 1. Clear? Now with both this type of initialization, we know total how many rows and columns are there in the array. But think about the situation where array will be passed as a parameter in a function, and we don't know how many value user will give to that array. In that case, how we will come to know total how many rows and columns are there in that array? We will use length attribute. Remember this length attribute of single dimension array? So this attribute returns the total number of elements present in a single dimension array. So like that, here also for double dimension array, it's supposed to return the total number of elements, but in this case, it will give total number of row. Why total number of row? Because double dimension array is a collection of single dimension array. It is array of arrays. So here one single dimension array, which is one row, is one element of that array. So in this double dimension array, how many rows are there? 1, 2 and 3. So it is considered as a double dimension array consists of 3 single dimension array. So here it is 3. So array name dot length for any double dimension array will give the total number of row present in the double dimension array. And for number of column, refer the first row of the double dimension array having index number 0. See, I have used only one index, the first index, which indicates the row. So A0 for first row. So if this is one single dimension array, that dot length for the number of elements present in that row, that means the number of columns in that double dimension array. So it will return what? 4. So A0 dot length will give the number of columns. Or we can use A1 dot length for second row's number of elements or the number of column, or A2 dot length for the number of elements of third row. But we don't know how many rows are there. But at least a double dimension array consists of 2 rows. That's why either we can use 0 or 1. So better we will use 0 to refer the first row only to get the number of elements present in that first row. That means that is the number of column. And number of column for each row is same. Now how to manipulate a double dimension array? For single dimension array, we need to make one loop to get the index number starting from first element till last element. Here we need 2 loops. One loop will give the row index and another loop will give column index for a single row. First for loop, let's have a variable I to refer the row index. Then I less than total number of row. If we know total number of row, we can specify the number. Otherwise, we will use what? Array name dot length. So array name dot length for total number of row, less than that for the last index number. So from 0 till last index number, the loop will continue. And here I plus plus to increase the index number. Now inside this for loop, you have to make another loop to get the column index. So it is j suppose. Column index will also start from first index, that is 0. J less than total number of column. What I told? A0 for first row dot length for number of element of first row, that is the number of column. Then j plus plus. Now here we will write what? Array I j. Close this outer for loop. So this is a single line inside this loop. Now here Aij will give each and every element starting from first element till last element row wise. Because from outer loop I is giving the row index. So first time I is 0, 0 for first row, and inner loop we are not changing value of I anywhere, only we are changing the value of j starting from 0. So j first time 0, then 1, then 2, then 3. So I0, J0, first time 0, 0 for this element, then I0, J is 1, 0, 1 for second element, then J will be 2, 0, 2 for third element, then J3, 0, 3, fourth element. Then this loop terminates. After that, here in outer loop, I's value will be increased to give the next row index, which is 1. So I is 1 means second row. So here this is the first index, means the row index, where I is 1. And j again will start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. Like that, row wise all elements we will get. Now what to do here with this element, that depends on the program. Either we can use this element's value in expression, or you can print it, or you can assign value to it. If it is a blank array, how to make runtime input for the elements? Scanner object dot next it if it is integer array. If it is double array, scanner object dot next double. So this way we can take input. So this was double dimension array. Now you have to solve few simple double dimension array programs. So here are two programs on your screen for your homework, which you have to solve to understand the implementation of double dimension array. That's all today, up to this much. I hope you will solve this problem before our next class. So till then, bye, have a nice day.